Well, we got experience last year. Then we knew that everything would change because the asphalt would change. With experience of the MotoGP, when they got the problem of the asphalt destroyed, before the asphalt were very grippy. You remember we got rain in race 2 with 6-7 seconds slower than the slick condition. This is unnatural all over the world. Too fast to proceed. So the grip was incredible. Now, in order to avoid the problem, they make completely slick surface in order that the stone will not come in. And so this is like this.
Okay.
And so we prepared the tires in June. We shipped the tires in July. And so we didn't know. But I knew that they have to resurface. And so we prepare all the range from the soft SE1 and one tires that we have, one specification we are preparing in order to substitute the SE2 for the future. So something soft and something a little bit more harder. And on the rear, we didn't bring the SEQ because we knew the new surface would be possible to use. So SEX, that has been used for a lot of races this year. SE0 and an SE1 is not properly the SE1, same compound, but the carcass that is more suitable for the next race in Australia. So we might expect something very aggressive with the new asphalt, so we brought the most safety cars we got. At the end, today they all race with the hardest front and with the SE0.
Okay, so firm front and soft rear.
The hardest front and the middle tire for the rear.
So hard front, mid rear. Is this everybody or?
I think so. Yeah. Maybe just Rinaldi will choose the SE1 front, the softest front. But with SEX, it's impossible to ride half of the race due to the condition of the asphalt. Okay. And so, yeah, the SE1 isn't got enough grip to be considered from riders. And so, the SE0 is what is giving the best performance for the moment.
Okay.
And we wait to see what will happen in times.
But, I mean, is it going to last the full distance?
That will be the problem for someone, because in these 2 days, every session improve lap time and life because of the rubberizing of the track. So probably tomorrow will be better as well, but today we will have first race with the warm-up. Surprise.
Okay.
But we didn't accept to ask for a shortage of the race because it's not our problem.
It's
someone has to explain why they resurface 1 week before the event, and this is something not so. But okay, we have to face the situation, and we are here with our best material to do it. As I was telling before, every session here change a lot the conditions. So the first thing is to see how much the tires could gain laps. The second one is to how much we can improve the lap time. And that means how much the team is able to set up properly the bike to meet its needs. And this is always the play every weekend. No? They haven't got so many time on a track, and so they have to work properly in order to ride to the first race ready. Sure, there are bikes, riders, teams that are able more than ever to do it. Or there are places where they are able to make it better because they got more data, or the rider is more suitable to this racetrack. So, generally speaking, for us, it's important to have a lot of bikes, a lot of brands involved, and teams as well, because different brands, maybe the same brand, the manufacturer, but with different teams has got a different approach to the race. And so to get all this information for us is fundamental, because I think we got here in an open competition and we got just Ducati team. We learn just what Ducati needs. Fine, fantastic, maybe you win the race. But what about all the other bikes? In order to be able to bring to the market products that are good for all motorcycles, we have to get all the information. And at the end, we produce and we improve, we develop the tires when we got the okay from all the teams. I wouldn't like to make a special tires for one brand only, because when I put these tires on the market, the clients will be not only one producer, not only one manufacturer. And so sometimes we saw in a test, we bring a new spec, we test maybe one bike, say, wow, this is incredible for me, I gain half a second. And others say to me, like the standard one. And others say to me, it's worse, it's really terrible. So what do you have to do? Produce something different that finally will make some improvement for every one of them. So sometimes we have to prefer a little improvement, but for everybody, and not a big improvement just for one, because it's not our interest. Well, one of the most important part of our engineers works directly, we deal directly with the teams, is to work at this point. So to keep the tires at the right temperature means to keep the tires at the right pressure all over the time. And so to prepare the tires before the race properly with the tire warmer, with the gauge they got, in order that the pressure will not rise too much or will not go down too much when it will be on the racetrack, is the most important part in order to keep the race level of performance all the same. So I tell you, SCX is not a tire for this place, in this condition. Last year might be, this year is not. So they have to use the SC0. And on the SC0, we will see in 2 hours who will be really able to make this job properly. Because you will see there will be people who will start and make a race like this, and people who will lose performance. And this is just related to the management of a setup and the tires management as well. Setup of the bike, tire management. Sometimes, like in this place, for instance, not all the teams has got the right time to do it, because there were conditions of starting that do not allow them to use all the session to work on this, but just to be worried about the dust, so probably tomorrow, if the condition will remain the same, things will be better. This championship is interesting because we make 3 races in a weekend. So it's not just all related to one race. And the experience you make on Saturday is very important for what you do in a Sunday. This is another reason why we prefer this championship to others, because we got a lot of information, knowledge and data due to the fact we got 2 races. When we go home at the end of the weekend, on Sunday evening, we know exactly how our range performs in this place. Yes, actually, all the new season, we work in order to improve the range we got. So SCX this year was improved compared to 2 years ago, from the carcass point of view, not from the compound point of view. SC0 is always the same. SCQ is something we introduced this year in order to give to the riders an alternative to the qualify. Since last year we got a qualify. Qualify just did 1 lap, maybe 2 sometimes. While with SCQ, we would like to give them more laps because they got few minutes. I wouldn't like they use just 2 qualified tires. To use 1 tire for 1 lap is not natural, I mean. And we have to find an alternative to SX for the short race, tomorrow morning Super Pole race, 10 laps, 50 kilometers. Because the SX born 4 years ago with this purpose, but then at the end they are using SX almost in order to race in the world with 100 kilometers. So, okay, the target is done, now we have to leave this place where the SX is just making qualifying. But for the rest, we got a product now on the market that is able to face the race of 50, 60 kilometers. A lot of club racing, national racing championship are not so long now. And so this is a product, interesting performance product to put on the market. SCQ board with the same way in order to give an alternative with more grip gain. So as a Pirelli, we have to propose to the market performance tires. And we are the only one able to add performance and produce it for all the world. And so this is the target for the next year. SQ has to become the Super Pole race tires. And for the moment, we will introduce it in the market as it is. But I think next year in a World Championship, we will produce new development in order to give the right target for all over the world. Because this championship for us is important from this point of view. you find condition here, you will never have in Misano or Portimao. And so to use the standard range and see how it works in different places give us an idea how much to improve the single product for the future. Enlarge the possibility of the single product to work everywhere better in a range, because you cannot do the entire romping, but with a range of 3-4 compounds we can get all the conditions you find all over the world. This is how we do it. Memory will remain in the factory because we are producing racing tires in the same factory on the same machine, building machine that produces the standard tires. So the factory people, the engineers understand that they cannot change dramatically the setup of one building machine when they make racing tires or they make standard tires. So that means we have to maintain the basic casing we got in the field. So radial carcass, one ply only, and zero reverse. This is our core for the standard tires and the stick tires. When we started 40 years ago, the carcass of the racing tires were completely different from the standard one. Again, now, prototypes from competitors are still a lot different from what they say they put on the market. We decided to keep this philosophy in order to be able to produce 2,000, 3,000 tires for any race. Because prototypes needs a lot of time for a single time, while in the machinery on the factory we are able to produce very fast racing tires, standard tires. So this is important in order to keep our work linked to the standard product. Then the technologies, in terms of compounds, in terms of profiles, are very close. If you look now, the last generation of Diablo, the slick surface is very important trend. And that means it's more close to what we do really on the surface as well. So the rigidity of the casing and the profiles are very close, even because a few years ago we decided to leave the 16.5 rims and the wider rims as well, and go straight to 3.56 as the market is. And so now the tires are the same sizes. And this is the most important one. To be linked to the standard production of high performance tires is our mantra, always. I know sometimes our engineers would like to have more free hands to use exotic material, but we stop it. No, we cannot do it, because we cannot add in the standard production something that costs too much, and then we have to put this cost to the customer again. So, in my opinion, it's more difficult for their job to be able to produce very performance tires with best vehicles, then give them all the freedom to use whatever they like. To give you an idea, when we start again in the beginning of 2000 here, the racing production, we did some prototypes. Prototypes, 800 tires that we hear, cost 15 times the cost of one racing tire. Impossible to pass this to the market as a price. So this is another way to make racing. What we are doing here will remain the same. 20 years of control tire in Superbike gave us the opportunity to make the range we got on the market. We are leader on the market worldwide, and we would like to remain this. So we have constantly to work in this championship, Super Sport 300, Super Sport 600, and Superbike in order to improve the range we got for the market. Then we started with this adventure with Mini GP together with Dorna, with little tires produced here in Indonesia.
Tested them last year.
10 and 12 inch. We got the final last week in Valencia during the MotoGP. It's incredible to see all these little kids from different parts of the world work all together and race together. And it's nice to see how much they already get the sport instinct. No? They congratulate with the others all the times. There is no fight, there is no... And this is really nice. to bring the kids on the bikes in this sport properly is important for the future generation of riders. And for us, it's important to produce tires that they remember. I started with Pirelli with a 10-inch, so to link everything is important. Then we probably will go back to the Endurance World Championship. We went out in 19 after won the championship with Kawasaki because the play was no more fair. Michelin and Bridgestone comes with prototypes, they get the best teams and start to play that's out of our job. We have to race with the standard tires. This year some teams ask us again, please come back, and we did in few races. We got the results with the standard range. So I told to everyone then, we will come back, but no special tires, no prototypes, just the standard range we use in Superbike and on the market. And they accept to pay for this tire. At this condition, I will bring the service in Endurance as well, again, for the next season. These are the two most important parts. Then, all what we do in the National Championship is always important to gain more championship, especially here in a HAPAC area for us now is fundamental, and we are working a lot on it in order to introduce our racing concept in this market as well, because there is a big potential, in our opinion, from the scooter racing to the superbike racing. In the middle there are a lot of competition we can get, and in order to have all the right products for the markets. So we wouldn't like to have just a product for European market or American market. South America, Asia are really important for us. So we have to work and produce something that is important for this market.